Looking at it now, everybody that walks in gets addressed. Gilbert Glen, file number XXX. When I heard my specific name, I felt like that was just a moment in my life. Like, Wiley Cortez, I better not see you in this court case again. Otherwise, there's big time coming up.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Glen Gilbert Connection. I am your host, Glen Gilbert. Today's guest is Wiley Cortez, an executive leadership developer whose perspective was shaped by an unconventional journey from a life surrounded by gangs and violence to building a company for over 16 years and now advising founders and senior leaders. Wiley helps executives confront the patterns limiting their leadership, strengthen how they make decisions, and become the kind of leaders their teams and organizations actually need. Wiley, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate your time.
Hey, Glenn, what's up, man? Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. My pleasure. My pleasure. Right on. So we're just going to jump right into it. So who were you before the success, before the world knew your name?
Yeah. And thank you for that intro, by the way. Jeez.
Absolutely.
It's all good. Yeah, it's kind of an intimidating. Yeah, it's an intimidating intro. Jeez. Who was I before everything? Well, grew up in Southern California in a little city called Riverside, which now is more popular than, 10 years ago. You said Riverside. Nobody knew where the heck that was, but grew up. And the part of Riverside that I grew up in was poverty, a lot of people with government help, assistance. And my parents and a lot of parents would work to be able to provide what they could. Well, for me, unfortunately, as I was growing up, because my father wasn't around, because he was working. He was around, but he was working to provide. So he was absent, but it was a good absent. And unfortunately, the streets became my father figure. Mm-hmm. And so anybody that knows the streets, that's where gang violence is. That's where drugs are. That's where all the different things that happen in the streets and where they lead to. And everybody knows also the same. They lead to two places, either dead or in jail. Mm. And so in a nutshell, that was my upbringing, and trying to navigate through that was tough because, and we'll get into this as we have the conversation, but all along I felt like that wasn't who I was created and designed to be. Mm. However, because of the environment that I was in, that's something that I did do.
Right. Just kind of got absorbed into the whole situation.
Yeah. I've also heard you're a product of the environment.
Yes.
Right. You grow up around success. The likelihood that you're going to become successful is really, really high. You grow up around poverty. It's the same thing. And in life is the same way. They say you're the fifth of the four people you hang with. So if you hang with four people that are millionaires, guess what? You're going to become the fifth. You hang around four drug addicts, you're going to be the fifth. Yep. So take that into a wide perspective and talk about environments. It's the same exact principle. Yep. And unfortunately, that's where I was caught up in.
Yeah. I was going to bring up you are the five people you hang out with, but you beat me to
it. Yeah.
So what masculine models, you mentioned this a little bit, but what masculine models shaped you growing up, and how did they impact the man you became?
Yeah. Well, my father was one, obviously my dad. I saw his work ethic, his hustle, his grind from afar. I didn't see it like firsthand because he was just always gone, but he was always gone, and I could see that he could provide, or that he did provide. I have three brothers, one sister, myself. And my dad took care of us. He kept clothes on our back, everything, food in our mouths, shelter, car, everything. Right. So that was a model for me. However, at the same time, the gang life was a model for me as well. Mm. And I'm not sure how many people could say that they're grateful for both, because I learned the hustle, the grit from both. But one of the things that's unique that I learned about as I was growing up in the gangs, as I was getting elevated through the ropes and what have you, one of the things that I learned is business, supply and demand, leadership, trust. scaling, so many different things that I learned in that space because of what we were doing and what we were moving, selling, what we were selling, what we were buying, all the different things.
I understand.
So I appreciate both. And those were both models for me. Masculine models. It was a predominantly, I mean, there is female gangsters out there and stuff. It was predominantly males. My dad, that's who I saw as a masculine person. So those two in my early childhood modeled what it looked like to be a man for me.
Right. Still, it says something about your character when you're like, even though it was gangland, you were still appreciative of what you learned out of that situation. And
that's as an adult. I didn't even realize that I was learning that, Glenn.
I get it. Yeah. I get it.
I didn't put two and two together until I walked into a business and I started seeing familiar things like, oh, how you interview. Oh, how you run inventory, supply and demand, your market. I was like, hey, I know this. I know how to do this.
This reminds me of the book. Yeah, this reminds me of the book by 50 Cent. I think
I've never read it. Yeah. Get Rich or Die Trying now?
Yes. Yeah. And he talks about the record industry, how similar it is to the streets. And you're doing the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And take care of territory, who's with you, who's not, who sees the bigger picture. All these things. Right. I remember sitting at a construction company that I was working with at the time and just sitting there thinking like, no way this is like this. So, and just to share a little bit more about that, I remember I went in as an entry level, almost embarrassing to say this. I just told this story, I think 2 days ago, to one of my coaching clients, leaders. I walked in, I was a dispatcher. And no shame to whoever's a dispatcher, great, do your thing, handle it. For me, I felt like, dude, what the hell am I doing? I used to make a bunch of money on the street. Why am I down here? And I would book appointments, low entry, $200, $300, like book the appointment, get the salesman out there. Well, I did a phenomenal job. And that's from somebody that's telling me that I did that. And this is where the story goes. So the manager at the time comes to me and says, hey, do you think you could do that with our product? Which I'm jumping for $200 to $300 closing tickets to $5,000 to $40,000 tickets. I said, nice. I don't know. I'll give it a shot. Let's try it. This is just an example of what I learned, because you learn how to talk too in the streets, how you're moving, who you're bringing on, convince people of in that time, I wouldn't say vision, but now it's like the vision of where we're going, how much money we're going to make, the car you're going to drive, the women you're going to have, like all of these different things. And so I went out and did it and I was a success, but they brought me back to the freaking dispatcher position, man. I was like, oh, then they asked me, do you think you could show someone how to do this? So they put me back out. It was 5 different people that they had me train. 4 of them succeeded. 1 of them was a flop. We never figured out why. He was maybe just not a candidate for that position. Back to the dispatcher position. They brought me into the office. Here's where it just completely changes. They brought me back into the office and said, there's a sales management position based on what we just witnessed. And this was over the course of like a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Right.
We want you to manage the department.
Nice.
So going back every time was really difficult, but ultimately to move forward beyond the positions. So typically you move up, okay, dispatcher, salesperson, supervisor, leader, manager, whatever. I went back only to propel forward in that specific case. So it was just interesting. And all of that, I credit to what I learned in the streets.
Isn't that amazing?
It was like me just processing that, even just whenever I share that is crazy to me.
Yeah.
People go to school for this.
Yes. There's different ways we all get educated. Yeah.
Right.
That's and then just thinking about how you were like, wow, I'm applying this in a business. Okay.
And the business grew. I mean, the story goes on. The business grew. I looked at profits, revenue, Where could we tighten up? Where could we grow? Who's not
Sure.
with what's going on? So it just, and that's just the way I operated. Obviously, when you're in whatever you do, you learn as you go as well. So I did a lot of on the job training as well, just learning different things, products, services, people, demographics, all the different things.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Nice. No, it's amazing. It's amazing. So what identity were you clinging to that was already falling apart?
Back then, or
yeah,
just
before the shift. Yeah.
Yeah, I alluded to it just a little bit. I've always had something in me that felt that I was created and designed to do something different. Mm-hmm. Like I always had that in me. And it was held back back then I thought I was held back by where I was. Mm. So how the hell am I going to get out of a gang, the city that I'm in, the area that I'm in? I'm in Southern California. It's humongous. I mean, you go from one place to another. It doesn't change. I mean, unless you're going to like Beverly Hills or Orange County or like those type of places, but everywhere you get into the same thing. But I knew that was something that I needed to change. So I was holding on to that.
Okay. It kind of leads into the next question. It's like, what were some of the the early warning signs that your life was heading toward a breaking point?
One that I could very specifically think of, man, is I landed in the county jail in Riverside. Mm. And this was the first time I had, and when I say first time, some people's like, Jesus, Wiley, were you just in and out of that thing? Unfortunately, yes. And I could laugh about it now because that's not my life anymore. But yes, it was a revolving door. The Chino County Jail, Riverside, LA County, Banning, all these different locations that I went to. But the very first time, although it felt like it made an impact in my life, I continued to land in there again. But the very first time, man, was a freaking red flag where the buddies that you think you had, the friends that you think you're, the homies that you think you have, that are ride or die, that will do anything for you, are the last ones that show up for you.
That's a learning lesson. Yeah. That's how you find out real friends. Yeah.
That's how you find out who your friends are, but then also red flags in your life. Like, man, I'm not hanging around the people that I thought I was. And also, why am I hanging out with them?
Right.
And there was a level of embarrassment, Glenn, because of that feeling that I had, like, man, this isn't what I'm created to be or designed to be. There was a level of embarrassment that I just could not make amends with when I was in there. It was just like, my gosh, the morals, the values, the ethics, everything my parents taught me, everything that they said not to do. And then I land in what I felt like the absolute worst place you could go because of who you've become. The only family member that visited me was an aunt of mine while I was in there. And not only where I was had an impact, not only realizing who my friends were and weren't had an impact, but her visiting. I'll take her visiting to my grave in something that I remember that was impactful in my life. That, these are the people that actually care.
Right.
So a few red flags in that. Ultimately, she comes in, as I mentioned, the level of embarrassment. And I'm just like, my gosh, this is like the worst place that I want anybody to see me in.
Right.
Anyone.
Yeah.
Because I believe that there would be a problem if you were in there and didn't have a problem. Like, hey, Glenn, what's up, man? Thanks for coming to visit me, man. Can you believe this? Do you like this orange jumpsuit? Hell no, right?
Oh, man. Yeah.
No. If somebody ever gets to that point, something is, unless your release date is coming up, what the heck?
Yes. It sounds like that's kind of the point of where you realize this current life is no longer sustainable.
Yeah.
If you will.
And so I did, but again, going back to the environment. So as soon as I got out, back to what I know, back to where we were making money, or we thought we were making money.
Right.
We didn't have nothing to show for it, but maybe a car with nice rims and a sound system. Other than that, you didn't have anything.
So when was that point? What did it
That
take?
point.
Yeah.
So that point was one of the last times that I was in county jail. And I say county jail because I'm also pretty proud of myself and the fact that I never went to prison itself. I never made it there. The turning point was I walked into a county courthouse. I got in trouble again. I walk out. And the way I tell the story is the way I remember it. Looking at it now, everybody that walks in gets addressed. Gilbert Glen, file number XXX. When I heard my specific name, I felt like that was just a moment in my life. Like, Wiley Cortez, I better not see you in this court case again. Otherwise, there's big time coming up. Big time means prison. When I tell you that scared the hell out of me, because I did have homies that went there. I did have people that went there that passed away or got killed or murdered, whatever the case. It freaked me the hell out. And it was almost like a sobering moment in that court where that judge said that, and I was released. And now I had a decision to make, just like all the other times. But this one carried more weight because of what I heard as I walked in there and sat down and they called me up. Coincidentally, at that same time, my sister, who I was living with in Chino, got a job opportunity in Seattle. And the story, for the most part, completely changes. That's where who you see today is the person that gets built or becomes or does the work that it was required to be here having this conversation with you.
Right. Awesome. So what part or what version of you do you think had to die so you could grow up?
When I hear that question, what I hear is the lie that had to die.
Yeah.
That because I was born in this environment, because of what I've done, that I wasn't going to amount to anything. And there was nowhere that I could escape or go to become who I always, again, referencing back, who I thought I was supposed to be. And so that lie had to die. And that lie, again, I made the choices to go. So I came with my sister. I went with her, helped her move. I said, hey, let me help you move. Ultimately, just to say, let me also stay with you. So, because I had nowhere, I came out, I had a car that I didn't have money to put gas in the tank or anything. So I believe, to answer your question, that the lie that I couldn't get out of where I was in order to become who I was designed to be is what needed to die.
Did you?
So a mindset.
Yes.
A perspective bigger than where I was.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I was kind of getting into, is like, it was just like a shift of a mindset. And the old mindset is like, that has got to go. That has got to go. We can't keep going down the same route with this kind of headspace, with this kind of mindset. It's got to change.
Yeah. Or limiting thoughts, limiting beliefs.
Yes.
And often those get created because of, again, where you're around. But nobody ever specifically told me or said, Glenn, because you grew up here, you're not going to amount to anything. That was just a story I made up in my own head.
Sure.
Because of what I saw.
Sure.
That same story that I made up about that, I could make something different. Put your nose to the ground, go grind, get your life right. Then determining what get your life right means was critical.
Yes.
And get your life right for you might be different than for me or for anybody listening or watching. We identify what the...
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, when we determine what that is, or when we, let's just say, write it down. Mm-hmm. There's a statistic when you write down let's just say a vision or something that's in your mind. When you write it down, there's like 78% likelihood of that becoming, as opposed to just, and then sharing it increases that to, I forget the numbers, but when you just think about it, rarely ever happens.
Right.
There's power in sharing it, but writing it is the biggest. If I remember correctly, writing is the biggest and most powerful way for that thought, dream, vision of yours to come to pass.
Does it help to execute and take action when you start writing that stuff down?
Of course. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna write it down on this book and just like, hey, I'm gonna close it up. Like, Yeah, it'll be here. It'll be sitting right here.
It's almost like a promise to yourself. And then it's like you start thinking that way. And then you're going to start, oh yeah, I took some action the other day. Oh yeah. Right. Kind of connecting all the
one of the similar thought as yours, what I like to call it is a commitment. Explore the word commitment and what does that mean to you? Because oftentimes, if I could just speak to the fellows that are listening to this or watching this, oftentimes we say we're committed to something, but the result or action of what we're doing shows that there was never a commitment to what we said we were going to do. So exploring what that looks like for you, because when we explore it, it's not just something I said to Glenn that I was going to show up for a podcast and then just blow it off. No, I made a commitment not only to him, but to myself.
Yeah.
And because I'm a man of my word, I'm showing up.
Nice.
And that's a very simple baseline commitment, but there's some people that can't even keep that.
Yeah. It's just all of your mindset, and the promises you make to yourself. And taking some action really is a big part of actually following through with the commitments you write down for yourself.
It really is.
Yeah. So to get a little deep here, what pain were you carrying that you didn't have the tools to face?
What comes to mind is for those who aren't familiar, what that looks like as far as being raised in a place where you often don't have the same resources as an affluent neighborhood, like the help to get out. Other than government help, which I believe that system is built to just keep you where you're at, not help you get out of where you want to go. So
makes you dependent upon that. Yeah.
Dependent upon that as opposed to dependent on what your talents and skills and abilities and gifts that you have as a person to go out and create value to have something come back to you. Can you repeat the question one more time?
Yeah. So like what pain were you carrying to show that you didn't have the tools to face, to move on? Yeah.
So that's where I was going with, it's just the resources. And that was sometimes painful. You would go into other neighborhoods and see, man, how is he? And don't get me wrong, there's opportunity. It was maybe the choices that I was making because there was people going to college. There was people going to be all the different things, but that wasn't the lens that I saw things through. So it seemed like, oh man, that's painful in a way that I get to see Glenn go be a firefighter where how come I can't be a firefighter? Well, the reality is you can. You're just not doing the work to go do it. So that was a pain that I was carrying, again, that I made in my mind that I didn't have that. And it created pain in my life altogether as I just shared the different things that I struggled with.
It sounds like there was some shame in there too. And you mentioned this earlier when you were in county, just the shame associated with that, where it was basically preventing you from your potential.
Yeah.
And
when I didn't know what my potential was at the time. It was just something that I had. It was a feeling, I guess, that I had that, man, what are you doing? You can be much bigger than this or something bigger than this is the way I always thought of it.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a drive within you that you're like, to me, it sounds like you're saying that there's bigger and better things in your life. What the hell are you doing?
Right? Exactly. And the interesting part about that reminds me that along my journey that I've shared, and there's a lot of gaps in there and a lot of different things that also happened while I was doing that. But there was people that came to me and said something like what you just said. What the heck are you doing? I was so caught up in what I was doing that didn't even land. People
were seeing it in you and you weren't seeing it. Isn't that amazing?
It's like, so that just reminds me. And I'm like, why? We often think of, I should have listened, which I don't buy into that because I believe that everything we go through gets us to where we're at and where we're going ultimately.
Sure. Sure.
However, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I never thought of that. I should have listened to Glenn when he said, what the hell am I doing when I was 16 years old? Right? Or 14, whatever the hell age it was.
Right.
If I would have just listened to a little bit of piece of that, where would I be right this moment?
Yeah. 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 It's almost like you want to believe in this lie that you keep telling yourself while other people are standing around you going, what are you telling your, what are you doing? Why are you doing, wait, why are you here? Yeah. Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Before we continue, take a moment to follow or subscribe to the Glen Gilbert Connection so you don't miss future conversations like this one. If this episode is giving you something valuable, like it, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and leave a review. It helps more people discover the show and allows us to keep bringing you honest, meaningful conversations. Let's continue. So, Wiley, what was the first small decision that started pulling you out of the rubble? And let's go past moving your sister. You already mentioned that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing, and this is important. This is an important part of my story because who I was kept coming back around with who I associated myself with.
Sure.
So moving here at that time, I found the same group of people doing the same things that I was doing. Luckily, actually, let me rephrase that. Thank God I didn't land in jails in Washington. The first time that something like that did come really close, playing with fire, something went off in me. That's not what I'm here to do. That is not what I'm here to do. It felt like it was from one day to the next. It almost felt like from 1 hour to the next. Disassociated myself with all of that. People, contacts, association, like everything that had to do with that I attracted or became a part of, disassociated myself. I went off the grid, if you will. I went dark for a while and worked on this person right here.
Yeah.
Who is going to create the life that you keep saying you want to have, you feel that you're designed to have? Tough questions to ask yourself. I think when I got to Seattle, I was 24, 25.
Mm-hmm.
And I was having that self-reflective type of conversation with myself. Because Glenn, you got to remember the story that I told. I didn't have those resources. I just moved to Washington. I don't know anybody. And the people that I do know are not going to answer those questions for me.
Right.
I'll be like, what are you talking about? You need to be here in the trenches with us. Let's build this thing.
Right.
Build what thing? I know where this gets us.
He's like, I've been there, done that, guys.
Yeah, I've been there and done that. Yeah. So I would have to say that was one of the first moments where I had that realization and a red flag turned into like a light bulb that went off in my mind of, no, let's start a transformation phase right now, right this moment. And it did. And it's interesting. The same people you attract with what you're doing or intentions of doing you attract those same type of people when you're on a different path. I ran into business owners, entrepreneurs, operators, real estate agents, people that it's like, oh, you could legitimately build something. And if you're good at it, there's a financial return for you on the other side. And I started seeing that. I started seeing people that were married that were happy. I started seeing people that were married that had kids that were happy.
Right.
That really wasn't something that I saw growing up. People were angry. Wives were angry. There's no money. There's no food.
Yes.
Where you at all day? Kids running amok. And seeing that opened my eyes to a bigger world than the little bitty world and environment that I grew up in.
Isn't that amazing how when you set your mind to something like that, how these doors, unexpected doors, start opening up, people you meet that you never thought you would meet before start working
and
with
taking advice and from these people. Like, you don't look like me. Glenn, if you would have tried to talk to me back when I was in my early 20s and 19, 18, 15, like, Glenn, I'm not the guy, dude. Go try and save somebody else. Go try and help another guy out of the gang life. You're not helping me. Keep it moving. But then, and not for anything, not to bring up race or color or anything like that, but it was a lot of people, white people, that actually took interest in where I was going, what I was doing, and saw the vision for where I was headed, that invested time and energy, intentional time and energy into the future. And that was like, to my mind, I never thought that somebody would take that time.
Why?
Because of who I believed I was. Like, oh man, you're taking interest in me? Tatted, like bald head, just not looking like the stereotypical Washingtonian. Washingtonians have a certain look, whether people want to admit it or not. There's a certain look in Washington, and I just didn't fit that. So it was quite surprising to me that somebody would take interest in me and want to hear about me, my life, where I've been, where I'm at, and where I'm going.
Yeah. You were like, I'm not even wearing Birkenstocks, bro, and you're talking to me? What is going on here?
Yeah.
Flannel? I don't know.
Yeah. What is that? No North Face clothes at all. None.
What is happening here?
Yeah. Yeah. So all of those different things contributed to the transformation that at that point, as I shared now, did not realize that was taking place, because I didn't know the word. I didn't know transformation. I didn't know what those words, development. I didn't know self-help. I didn't know mentors. Those weren't common words that were used in the hood. But that's exactly what I was going through. And those were the exact same people that were speaking into my life as I was changing.
So for the man that's listening, who feels like he's failing, what would you tell him about the season he's in?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's a great question because I think what's on the other side of that question is really helpful for the viewer. And the first thing that I could think to say, and this is something that I teach and I advise, is for you to determine where it is that you want your life to be and where you want your life to go. I talked about vision. We hear it. It might be just a term that's loosely used nowadays, but the impact that has on your life when you determine where it is that you want to go, that's the first step. Second step is, who does Glen and Wiley need to become to get to that? And I will tell you that that's not going to be something you figure out in 5 minutes. Because if it's something that you can figure out in 5 minutes, you'd already be doing it. There's some work that needs to be done, because what we need to do is get honest with ourselves as to what those things are. And then with something that we talked about earlier, determine the vision. Who do I need to become to get there? And then make a commitment to yourself and that.
Yes, 100%.
3 things. The one thing I would add to that is get somebody that could hold you accountable.
Yes.
To that commitment. And I believe that those tools will help you get from where you're at to where you want to be. I wholeheartedly believe that. And I wholeheartedly believe that because that's part of a process that I coach and lead and advise with everybody that I talk with. I mentioned I was talking to one of the leaders from this team that I'm working with. And he asked me similar questions. It's like, hey man, where do you want to go? Smart guy, smart. I think he's like 25. Brilliant, killer sales guy. He has no idea where he wants to go.
Interesting.
No idea.
Yeah.
I said, man, so you just wake up every morning and just kind of like, oh yeah, let's go to work and close some membership calls and then go back home. And I said it like that on purpose because I wanted him to feel
right
the weight of not having something that you're getting up out of bed for and then laying down to do it again. So then we go through a process. He's like, man, can I privately meet with you to talk about this? So those are the things I would say, Glenn.
Yeah, it sounds like you having these guys ask themselves, Like that one question of what is your purpose?
Right.
If you want to change your life,
that's another way.
What is your purpose? What's the one question you're going to ask yourself tonight? What is your purpose?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's not a question that's answered while you're listening to this podcast or over a drink, and maybe in some cases it is, but more than not, it's digging. And when you think you've dug enough, dig in deeper. And then one more time, they say dig 3 times before you come up with.
Nice. Yeah.
So you can ask the same questions 3 times, and the third time, usually you're getting pretty close to where you want to be.
Nice.
And it's just digging in there.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I was just going to say, final question for you, Wiley. Who is the man you're still becoming?
This one hits close to home. The man, for those of you who don't know, and I don't think I mentioned it. So I'm married and I have a 26-year-old daughter. And my life, one of the things for my life is built around leaving a legacy for my daughter. And not a financial legacy. Oftentimes when we think legacy, we think finances, which that is one of them. That's almost by default a responsibility, I believe, of parents for their kids. And no judgment if that's not something you're capable of doing or you're not planned on or what have you. But the man I'm becoming is the man that she remembers, that was there, supported and stood by her, was a fierce advocate for her dreams, her visions for her life.
Nice.
That's the man I'm becoming. I'm also becoming and living out the vision for my life, which is to help build and grow people. Because as I mentioned, if I don't sound like a broken record, I am a broken record till I lay my head. It is to help build and grow people, because I believe every single human has been created and designed to do something much, much bigger than what they're currently doing.
Yes.
And if you don't know, you're capable of much more than you can even imagine. And that wasn't directly to you, Glenn, but
yeah, no, I understand. And I've gone down that path myself. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. No, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. So where can people find you if they want to talk to you and look you up?
You can search me anywhere, any search engine, Wiley Cortez, and you'll find everything that I'm a part of. I've done that intentionally. On Instagram, Wiley_Cortez. You should be able to find me in all my outlets there. Honestly, WileyCortez.com. Like I said, you can do a search Wiley Cortez, and everything that I'm associated with and affiliated with should populate.
Awesome. Well, I do appreciate your time, Wiley. This has been a great discussion. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, man.
Yeah, you bet. So if there's one idea to take away from today's conversation, it's that leadership begins with the willingness to confront your own patterns before asking others to change theirs. Follow the Glen Gilbert Connection, share this episode with someone who would benefit from it, and leave a review wherever you listen. Until next time, keep asking better questions, take responsibility for what you can control, and keep building a stronger life. Wiley, again, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.